All right, we are live, and I was just telling these guys off air that when this event was on paper, we're talking about it last week. We thought this would be pretty cut and dry. We would have a couple things to talk about. Certainly not as much as we have to talk about coming out of UFC Norfolk tonight, but alas, here we are. As UFC Norfolk is officially in the books, we got JHK and Drake Riggs here. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, man? Good to be on.
Drake,
Yeah,
how are you,
not
man?
much. Just, I'm good. I'm good. Crazy card. Definitely, I guess it beat expectations, in multiple
I'd
ways.
say, yeah, I would
So,
say beat expectations. I know a few of you guys are jumping on right now. So if you guys got questions or comments, please leave them inside. But, we have two women's featherweight contenders that we have to decide upon. We have no flyweight champion. Both fighters that missed weight won their fights via finish. It was a crazy night. So I guess, Drake, I'm going to start with you here. What did you make of the main event between Figueiredo and Benavidez? Of course, the finish was pretty devastating and brutal. Where do we go from here, my man?
boy, where do we go? Man, it's such a it's so crazy. This card ended up so much crazier than I totally thought it would. The fight was great. It was a really fun fight for a while it lasted. After the first round, I was like, man, just reminds you like how do people not like this division? These are the best guys, and you're like, just look at what's going on in the cage. The action it's up there with the best of them. Yeah, Figueiredo, phenomenal victory, knockout, great highlight. The guy's the finisher of all finishers at 125. Is there any other debate about it? He's only got a decision, three times or whatever, as I said last week. Yeah, missed weight, though, which was a massive bummer. Didn't see that coming. Really, that deflated me, honestly. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this just, it takes so much away. Even though it ended up still being good, it's just the excitement, dies a little because you're like, okay, well, there could be this situation where the title it's nobody's still, it's still vacant. So where do we go? I don't know. I heard Bisping say after, he'd be fine with a rematch. And I mean, it was a fun fight and all that, but I don't know if you can do that after such a decisive, win on his part, and a loss for Benavidez. Poor Benavidez, man, he can't win the big one. It's just one of those guys. He's the John Fitch of the flyweights, the Faber of the flyweights. I mean, it's a bummer for him, honestly. Like, not picking sides or anything, but you want to see that, for one of those guys who's beaten everybody except for champions. But yeah, as for what to do, I don't know really. I mean, I don't want to see the division go away, but at the same time, they only have like 16 fighters in the division. It's not as full as it was. There's the point where we were like, okay, maybe it's going to go away. I don't know, man. I have no idea what to do with it, so I can't give a good answer, really.
Obviously, I don't want it to go away. Drake doesn't want it to go away. JHK, I assume you don't want it to go away because the fights are just pretty fantastic, and they seem to always deliver at 125. But I guess I'll put it this way: between 1 and 10, how much in jeopardy is the flyweight division moving forward after tonight?
3. I feel this 3, but even though I say that, and I'm not being optimistic about it, I feel like there should be a rematch, and these are the reasons why I feel like it. Number one, Figueiredo, he did miss weight, and he's never missed weight, I believe, throughout his whole UFC career. So, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He wanted to, because come on, it's a title fight. I don't think it's like he just came in and said, I'm not going to make weight and still win this fight and not walk away with the belt. That sounds fucking ridiculous, right? Like, that's crazy to even say that, right? And I feel like, yeah, give him another chance. And in the fight, there was a headbutt. You got to kind of put that into factor, man. There was a headbutt. It cut him. It looked like it rocked him, and that kind of led to the finish. And it was a nasty finish. Did you see Joey B's face afterwards?
Yeah,
It was bad. Like, it was bad. Like, he looked like he ran through a car wash with stones. You know what I mean? Like,
I stoned him.
it was bad, right? But everybody loves Joey B, man, and I feel like he could use that Uriah Faber clause in his contract where he could go get a title shot. And nowadays everybody's getting a title shot off a loss, so why not give Joey B another chance? I feel you could put him on a co-main event. Don't put him in a main event. Put him in a co-main event on a pay-per-view or whatever, a big pay-per-view, maybe a John Jones pay-per-view, I don't know, but give him some more spotlight and give Figueiredo another chance and give Joey B another chance. And I think that's the only way you can move forward with this, because really, who is the next title contender? Who stands out right now in the flyweight division? Drake looks like he put up his
I
little
figured out the answer, you
finger.
guys.
So what's
I
going on?
figured
Okay,
out the
okay.
answer. It's Ian McCall. He's been calling him out. He's coming back, you guys. Uncle Creepy, give him the shot. That's the guy.
Hey, then you might as well bring Manel Cape over and let him fight for the title too.
Why not?
You know,
I'm
who-
down for
you
it.
know who I just continuously feel bad for every time Figueiredo wins is Jared Brooks, because I still think Jared Brooks won that fight.
Yeah.
I really do. And he always comments on it, and I always feel so bad for him. Like, where would he be? Like, where would he be right now without that? He probably wouldn't have got the Torres fight, which we all know what happened there. And now he's gone. Obviously, he's doing pretty well in overseas and is winning fights. But man, like you got to feel for him watching Benavidez and Figueiredo miss weight, and then he goes out there and brutally finishes Joseph Benavidez. Man, I mean, I would have to say, in terms of the division and people watching and everything, this is the absolute worst case scenario that could have happened. Not only was it like didn't go 5 rounds, we saw a pretty fun fight for as long as it lasted. Like if it went 25 minutes, it was like a controversial decision. Yeah, we could run it back. We have all these excuses to run it back, but now we're like, shit, what do we do now? Like that was devastating. Yeah, I guess you could throw the headbutt in there as something that could make this move forward. Obviously, Figueiredo missing weight, but man, this is just like the worst case scenario possible. So
the only
yeesh.
reason that I don't really, the headbutt happened, but it's like it was a head clash. Okay, it wasn't a headbutt. He didn't,
True.
come
Yeah,
at him.
yeah.
So
It's not left way.
yeah, it's not that way.
A collision.
Yeah, these things, they happen in fights, which is unfortunate because it feels unfair, right? You're like, it doesn't feel like a fair shake, but you're like, it just kind of happens, like we've seen it before. I mean, I can't think of one where the knockout happened maybe as quickly afterward, but I mean, it wasn't intentional, is the point. So it is what it is. It's a bummer because I think it was Benavidez. If it was the other way around, I bet we might not be talking about it really. So yeah, I think it's just kind of what it is with that. But I get the point of bringing it up.
All right, we got JHK, we got Drake Riggs here. We're just talking UFC Norfolk. If you guys get something you want to talk about, throw them in the comments, ask questions, whatever you guys want to do. The other really disappointing thing was Kutalaba versus Ankalaev. I mean, man, for the 38 seconds those guys went at it, and then like the 20 seconds before they fought, I mean, it was just magic from beginning to end, from the walkouts to well, I mean, it wasn't magic, obviously, with how the fight played out, but for those 38 seconds, it was wild, and it ended in super controversial fashion. I was sitting there, even in my recap, saying, I think he's playing possum right now, and then the fight just gets stopped out of nowhere, and Kutalaba is just livid. I mean, very rarely do you see a guy just immediately, just be that angry about it. It was just so disappointing. I'm still disappointed even talking about it. JHK, I want to start with you. Your thoughts on that whole sequence of events, from walkout to how this fight went down. What went through your mind? How are you feeling right now? Because I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, that was a massive error on the referee's part. And Kutalaba, he was doing that Anderson Silva, he was doing that like that little drunk flow,
Kinda looked
like
like
that
it.
drunken tiger. And I liked it. I loved it. He was like playing the game, because the other guy, Magomed, is that his name?
Magomed Ankalaev, yeah.
Yeah, Magomed. He threw the most head kicks in a row. I don't remember how many. I don't remember who threw that many head kicks in a row. I think it was like 4 or 5 in a row, and none of them really landed. So Kutalaba was playing the game. He was playing the drunken tiger, right? And then Kevin McDonald, I think that's the referee's name.
Mhm.
He fell for it. It's like this dude fell for it. Like the referee fell for the drunken tiger. What happened, man? Like, come on. He's a pretty good ref, I believe, right? He
Mhm.
doesn't really make too many mistakes, but man, he fell for it, man. It just, they gotta run it back. What are you supposed to do, right? But the funniest part of that fight was not the lead up. They did hug before the fight. Not the way that they really wanted to, but they did hug. But the funniest part is, after everything, like, they stopped the fight, the officials just standing around in the cage, and the fighters just like circling around. It looked like it was weird, because it seemed like the officials didn't even know what was going on. They were just standing there, like, between the fighters, like all stiff, like they were mummies or something like that, like wax statues. And yeah, I was like, that kind of made me laugh. But yeah, it seemed like Kutalaba was taking it pretty well, man, because in the beginning, he stomped all around like a 5-year-old child that lost his, his toys, but he seemed like he took it pretty well though. I said, yeah, they're running back, man. There's a lot of running backs in this card.
A whole bunch of running backs, and it kind of reminded me of Robbie Lawler, Ben Askren in a way, but didn't really get that far. I'd love to see the thrill and agony of that fight. Hopefully they showcase that. But Drake, I know you were really looking forward to that one, and it was just craziness. And obviously we all feel we should run this thing back and do it again. But man, what a bizarre ending. Drake is back. How are you, Drake? You kind of vanished for a minute there, but your thoughts on the 38 seconds plus of chaos?
What was that? I missed it again.
You're very still right now.
Choppy.
Oh, there he is. He's kind of moving again. We're losing Drake here. Yep. Oh, you're slowly but surely coming back into focus here. You good?
A sec, I'm gonna leave and come back. Can I
Okay.
do that?
That's our good buddy Drake
Riggs
Riggs.
watching. The feds are.
They're watching. All right, Drake's gonna come back in. Yeah. What
did you think, Mike? What did you think about the performance? Of course, this matchup was fireworks, right?
We knew it would be.
And you expected them to come out the gate just hard, and they did. But the whole sequence, what did you, how did you, at the end of the day, you look at it, the result, what did you think?
It was like to me, and I thought about this right away. I have this weird way of looking at different things. It was like Lawler Askren and Pete Sell and I can't remember who it was. It was like those two fights had a baby. It's like those two fights had a baby, and that's what we got with Ankalaev and Kutalaba. But I mean, really, all we could say about it is it sucked. It was the 38 seconds, and even the buildup beforehand was everything we hoped for and more. Is like buying a Toyota in the 1990s. But man, run that thing back. I don't care when you do it. I don't care if you throw it on UFC 248 next week if you want to. Like, if you want to throw out a 14 fight card, let's do it. And Drake is back. Hey,
sorry about that.
What sharp, buddy. All right, so 38 seconds of fury. Ankalaev versus Kutalaba. Your thoughts watching the sequence go down, and then ultimately, I'm sure you agree with myself and JHK. Run this thing back as soon as possible. Do it in the back, like do it in the hotel bar tonight, and just film it and put on UFC Fight Pass and charge me $4.99. I'll buy it.
Just put it on YouTube. Who cares? We got to see it now. It's still ready to go. Just have them, fight in the stands. No, have them put them on 248. I know it's not possible, but that's what I was like. Yeah, just do them next week, whatever. That was ridiculous, man. Just that whole entire sequence. It's like, what is up with 2020, man? First, we get Sanchez and Pereira, which I saw my tweet about that. Ridiculous, and then this happens. 2020 off to a crazy start when it comes to MMA sequences here. It's one of the worst stoppages ever, right? I mean, I think that Kutalaba was a little bit hurt, maybe not too badly. Maybe the equilibrium was off a little bit, but man, he was literally throwing when the fight was stopped, So it's like, it was a mess. It was really fun while it lasted, but then it was like we kind of got blue balled a little bit, if I can go there.
Yes. That's the perfect way to compare that. It was like, because Kutalaba is like such a wild man, so like even him just going in there and playing possum and doing the rope-a-dope and the Anderson Silva thing, like it almost like played against him here. It was like such a Virginia thing for it to go down. And it's like, who's worse right now, Virginia or Texas? I mean, we're just in this weird spot where we're blaming the states and we're blaming the commissions. But yeah, run this thing back and make everybody happy. I don't care where you put it. If it's the first fight on a pay-per-view on UFC Fight Pass, or you put it on ESPN Plus card, I'm sure there's so many cards coming up, for God's sakes, that there's a spot for it somewhere. Even if you have to push somebody else somewhere else, I'd rather see that fight over most of these other fights anyway. So
throw it on the Portland card.
Yeah, we'll throw it on the Portland card. There you go. You'll be happy about that.
Asking for it.
So for you guys watching, throw in your comments, throw in your thoughts on UFC Norfolk. If you want us to address anything, we'll do that. But I thought the biggest talking point we would have is the women's 145-pound division. We have two contenders right now. Megan Anderson gets a first-round finish. Felicia Spencer gets a brutal first-round finish. If we're going by beat-the-clock style WWE-wise, Megan Anderson won by 6 seconds. She had the faster finish. So, JHK, I'm going to start with you here. If you're the UFC right now, who's Amanda Nunes' next opponent? Are you giving Megan Anderson to her, or are you giving Felicia Spencer to her? Notice how I worded that.
Felicia Spencer. No doubt in my mind, Felicia Spencer should fight Amanda Nunes. I don't know. I felt like the Megan Anderson stoppage was kind of premature, you know. I don't know. I don't know about that stoppage, but the Spencer stoppage, she was just beating the shit out of that girl. Like shit was flying everywhere. Hair, fucking nails, eyelashes, mustaches. I don't know, man. It was just going all over the place, right? And she just put a ground and that's the aspect what I like about Spencer versus Nunez. Can Spencer go in there and go to the ground with Nunez and do that to Nunez? That storyline, I like that storyline. Megan Anderson, if she fights Nunez, she's gonna stand with her, right? And what's gonna happen? I believe like it's gonna be a murder show, right? Nunez is gonna go in there and just did what she normally does to all the strikers, you know, Chris Cyborg, Holly Holmes, and it'll just be the same thing. It'll just be a murder show. And I like the Spencer matchup a little bit better stylistically, and she had the more definitive finish in this on this card. And yeah, man, it's just if you wanted to do a pay-per-view or a fight that is like the fighters can like kind of sell it better. Yes, Megan Anderson, I think she'll sell the fight better, but the better fight would be Spencer.
Drake, you know my opinion on this. I thought Megan Anderson with a win, as long as she got a finish, she should be in that position. However, I still think like popularity wise, I think Megan's following is just way better. It's just way bigger. Like just look at the social media numbers. I think I looked at it. Megan Anderson has over 90,000 Twitter followers more than Felicia Spencer, and over 400,000 Instagram followers more than Felicia Spencer. So popularity wise, it's a no-brainer. Megan Anderson's the more popular fighter. She's got more of a following than Felicia Spencer does. However, the fight that apparently this is being targeted for, according to Kambache, is for UFC 250 in Brazil. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. Now, if you're going to throw it on the Perth card, it's a no-brainer that it's Megan Anderson. Or really any other card, it's Megan Anderson. But you got Cejudo versus Aldo. You can just throw Amanda against anybody at this point. It's just like a bonus for everybody. But if it's up to you, who are you giving the shot to?
Well, yeah, I think we agree on this for the most part, Mike. But, in my perfect world, I think it should be Aldana. Let these two have the rematch. That's what I want in my
Interim
perfect
title.
world. Yeah, maybe not the interim. I mean, that was what I was proposing last time. But, so yeah, it's such a toss up. I think you can do either. I understand all the arguments for both of these ladies. Of course, everyone kind of looks at, Felicia just beat Megan, not just beat her, but, she did beat her. But since then, 1-1 and then 2-0, obviously you can look at all the little factors, who they beat, who they fought. Felicia lost to Cyborg at Cyborg, but then, she just beat Farron, who Megan just beat. They beat her both impressively. It's like, you can't really be mad at whoever gets this, especially in featherweight, which is not even a division really. Because we Brandon Fitzgerald, he said on the broadcast, like, busy night for the featherweights. And I'm like, I guess it is, huh? This is 2 fights is busy for them. So yeah, I like John's point about, Felicia being probably a more fun and interesting stylistic matchup. For that ground element. And, Felicia gets in very well when she's inside and can make things interesting there. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, Amanda might be more likely to try and take things down against Megan, and we won't have as much of a fun striker matchup. And, after that Jermaine fight we've seen, obviously Jermaine's a better striker than, mostly anybody, but, Amanda can be affected on the feet if you're going in with the right game plan, not getting crazy like Cyborg or anything. I don't think it really matters who. I mean, not it matters, but I'm fine with either one. Who deserves it? I don't know. You pick. It's whatever.
Give us the real answer, Drake. Why are you dancing around the lines, man? Why are you dancing around the lines? Give us an answer. I said Spencer. Come on.
Okay, well, I'll go Megan then, just because.
Brazil. It's going to happen in Brazil. What do you think?
If it does happen in Brazil, I mean, yeah, sure. They always like to have, Nunes fight in Brazil. So, yeah, let's do that again. Sure. Even though the Perth one, I think that's perfect. Why not give Megan a title shot on his Australia card? That's coming up, because they don't go there too much every year, but you got one lined up. Why not throw it on that one? So
to me, it's like, who is the UFC more invested in? Are they more invested in Megan Anderson, or are they more invested in Felicia Spencer? And that's kind of a bizarre question to ask, because if you're more invested in one than the other, then the person you're not as much invested in, you probably give the title shot to, because let's be honest, Amanda Nunes is going to be a heavy favorite over either of those two women, like a very heavy favorite. Now, the Spencer matchup is interesting if Spencer can get her to the ground, and there'll be some interesting things going on there once it hits the mat. But Amanda's still going to be the favorite, especially in Brazil, where it's hostile territory, and the Brazilian fans, however many they're going to be there, are going to be calling for Felicia Spencer's head on a silver platter. And she's never been in that situation before. She's from Canada. It's A and nice and woohoo, like everything's hunky-dory. But when you go in that situation, it's a little different. Megan Anderson is used to being hated and used to having crap flung at her left and right. So it's almost like she's almost like ready for this situation. So if Spencer loses, that's 2 out of 3 she loses. And yes, the competition is much higher than probably Megan Anderson has had overall. But it just depends on who you're more invested in. Honestly, I think Anderson is the bigger draw, but I don't think it matters on this card. So I'll go with Megan. I think they have more invested in the future of Felicia Spencer. I think like, a year or two, if they're going to keep this division around Felicia, they want to try to build her into being the face. Dana White obviously likes her, but she's not the face of that division right now. And I don't even know if there is a face of that division right now. I mean, I guess Amanda is, and then Megan's number 2 and Felicia's number 3 in terms of face and popularity. But I don't know, man. It's interesting. Who would have thought that we'd be spending 8 minutes talking about the women's featherweight division after an ESPN Plus card? But here we are, alas.
Because it's interesting. It's interesting, Mike.
Right now it is, yeah.
I like what you're saying. Is you make a very good point about that. Her following, her building the fight, and she's used to that hostile territory. Go to Brazil. I changed my mind. I say give Megan the shot now. It makes sense. You know why? It's because Canada, they need somebody. They need a champion now. GSP's long gone. Roy McDonald's long gone. They need somebody to carry that torch. And Megan and Spencer, Felicia Spencer, she could probably do that. But if you give her Amanda Nunes right away and she gets smashed, then that kind of kills any kind of momentum. So yes, give Megan in Brazil first. Whoever wins that fight, they fight Felicia in neutral territory, like say Vegas or somewhere, maybe even in Canada, right, where Felicia is from. Where is she from? In Vancouver, or is she from like Montreal? I don't know exactly where she's from in Canada, but anywhere near that area, that could headline like a pay-per-view right there. You know what I mean? I don't know a pay-per-view, but at least a co-main event or whatever. But yeah, I changed my mind, man. I changed my mind. Like, yeah, give her Megan or whatever, and let Felicia wait it out. I think she should wait it out. She should let them fight. When's the Brazil card? In May?
Yep.
Yeah.
In May? Yeah, let them fight. Let Felicia go back, train, travel around, get better, and then come back and get that next title shot maybe at the end of the summer or beginning of the fall or whatever. And it would work out perfectly for the UFC. And let's just say, wilder things that happened, Megan wins that fight against Amanda. I don't even think Amanda would get even a rematch. I think they would go back and let her fight for the bantamweight title and then let Megan fight Felicia. I'm just giving you the whole fucking timeline of the rest of the year for everybody that's watching, you fucking million people, you know. So this is real. This is like when this happens, you just come back to this and say, hey, this Asian dude knows something about MMA, especially the featherweight division. No, but but going back to it, I changed my mind. You guys changed my mind.
John, you just revealed that you're related to Chatri.
Oh man. Don't forget, Cedric said Kutalaba, or however it's spelled, is being interviewed right now. And this is about 10 minutes ago, and said it was his game plan, but the ref didn't know his style. LOL. I mean, pretty much what we expected. He's just a wild man. And
that's
don't
my
ever
game
change.
plan every time.
Don't ever change, Ian Kutalaba. Don't ever change. Keep doing that and all that crazy, bizarre stuff. I can't remember. Do you guys remember another time where a fighter just walked across the cage during the intros and like nobody stopped him? Like once you get past the buffer threshold, no one stepped in. They just let him walk right towards Ankalaev, and Ankalaev was just like, he just moved him over. But
JDS does it all the time. But he's not gonna go there and fight the guy, or touch the guy. He's just going there and doing his little Zorro thing that he does.
Yeah, I thought it was like, oh, they're really gonna let him do this. We're like, what the hell's going on right now?
I think of, when he did it to Kane, they didn't really do anything about that, and that was really intense. That's like that
Yeah, that was a
moment
good
we
one. That's
remember.
right.
Yeah, I love
So,
that. That was great. That was
mhm.
great. Yeah, so man, I guess we figured it out, man. So UFC is listening right now. So Dana's watching. So Dana, just do what we say and
Listen up.
flow. And the featherweight division will be better because you listen to us. Okay.
That's right.
So Dana, retweet this. Come on, buddy.
Come on, man.
Don't forget, Sutter said I thought he was going in for a hug. I think once he got past, once he got to the last third of the octagon, I didn't think he thought he would even make it that far. I think he was just like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? I guess I'll just walk at his face, and then Ankalaev just kind of like moved him out of the way, and it created a good little video for us all.
Oh,
Yeah, that
insider
was
info. I
awkward.
heard that he was working with Joshua Fabio before that fight. So that was kind of like part of the game plan
Breaking.
right there. Yeah, like he was gonna walk through him and through the cage and then back out. And then he would have entered his game plan. He would have knew everything, so
Oh man, does that mean we're gonna get another 2 weeks of Josh Fabia interviews? Man,
we could, man. We
when
could.
you gotta
We
get
can
him,
get him on this
JHK,
show.
that would be fun.
Yeah, we could grill him for 2 hours.
Dude.
It would be a real interview,
Get him on between the links.
Oh my god.
It would be between the links, but like between the links with with the axe.
Oh man.
It's just
what else happened tonight? Grant Dawson got a nice win. Kind of sucks that he missed weight.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I want to talk about that too.
Sure.
Because Adam Martin, he put up a tweet about guys that miss weight and they win. It kind of taints the win, and I believe that. I think that should be something that people talk about more, is guys or girls that miss weight go in there and fight and they win. There should be an asterisk next to the fight, right? So even when people go back and talk about it, they should highlight that aspect of that fight. Like, this guy or this girl missed weight by this much, they still went in there and fought and they got a win, but it's not like really 100% of a win. What do you guys think about that aspect of guys going in there or girls going in there and winning after they miss weight? Because I heard that all fighters that miss weight and they fought, they're 100% winning rate this year.
Yeah, that's true. I saw that too. Yeah, man. I mean, it is a weird thing because we talked about it a little bit last week, Mike. But just it's not fair, obviously. But the penalties and punishments, don't seem to be enough to really stop it necessarily. And with looking at Figueiredo and stuff, it's like, man, that's a good punishment not to be, get the title and everything. But I don't know. Yeah, I totally lost my thought there. I'm with you, man. It's weird. It's upsetting. It really got me.
I mean, I say no to the asterisk thing, and but I totally understand where you're coming from, because, you go back and you negotiate getting 30% of the purse or 20% of the purse and things like that.
70.
And once you make weight successfully, like, you're getting your show money anyways. Like, you've earned your show money and you're good. And then even if percentages are 100% for the guy that makes weight, like, you could just say, screw that. I'm not going to fight him. I got my show money. I'm going home. Like, that's it. You make the choice to accept the fight. Now, if you make the choice to accept the fight, you have to deal with whatever happens. If you win, then you beat a dude who missed weight. If you lose, you agreed to the fight. So I don't think there's an asterisk there, but I do like Drake's idea. What did you say, Drake? 70% of the purse? Yes. I love that idea. No one's missing weight if you forfeit 70% of your purse. Exactly. I love that idea. What would you do, JHK? Because one of the questions we got was, do you take a point around or take a point from the fight if a fighter misses weight on top of the forfeiture of the purse? But what would you do? Like, what would you change about fighters missing weight and the penalties that surround it?
70% is steep, for a fighter. If they were making a lot more, I think it wouldn't be as bad because they could take away a lot more. But also the other fighter would get a lot more if they fight. 70%, man, that's a lot. 50%, not bad, right? Right now it's 30%, so 50% maybe. 70%, oof. Guys would be,
don't they do
cutting off their
for
everything off? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, to make the weight. So, yeah, 70%. I guess you could, if a commission wanted to do that, that'd be fine with me. 50% would be better. Yeah, the point thing. I don't know. The point thing would be good too. But I think the money is the worst. You know what I mean? Like, because the point thing would just make another. It could affect the performance of a fight. Either way, like a guy could just fight to cruise and kind of get the decision win. Because even if you lose the round, you're even, right? Because you get a point deducted. So it could lead to some weird decisions, and you know how judging goes in MMA nowadays. So I think the money is the best. Take the money away. I've been talking to one championship fighters for the past couple of years and talking about what they do. You know what I mean? Because one championship they have different weigh-ins. So what happens is they have 3 weigh-ins during the week. So the first weigh-in that they do, if they miss the weight, they get automatically deducted 50% of their purse. The first weigh-in of the week. That's not even before the fight, right? And then the second and third weigh-ins, they do the hydration test with those weigh-ins, right? And if they miss those, they also have a possibility to get 50% knocked off, and then they have to renegotiate and do a catchweight fight if they want to do a catchweight fight. I like that idea, but their weigh-in system is different from the North American style. But yeah, 70-50%. I think that's the best point deduction. Not so great, but I don't know. What did you think, Mike, about that? I know what Drake thinks because he made it up.
I kind of I do like the money thing, but I also understand that fighters don't make shit. So that's kind of a hard pill to swallow. But again, that's your incentive to make weight. But at the same time, like you look at a guy like Figueiredo, like, he didn't want to miss weight. Obviously, there's probably something more than meets the eye. He says it's cramps, and his manager said it was cramps, but there's probably a little more going on there because it's your shot to win a belt and you still missed weight and you've never missed weight before. And Dawson's never missed weight before either. So, maybe there's something in the Norfolk water or something. Maybe everyone's just cramping up. Everyone's cramping all up in Norfolk right now. So don't drink the water there, I guess. But
The only
everybody
person
else
that
made it.
craps up around me is my wife. You know what I mean? She's always complaining about that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, and my wife's asleep right now, but I'm dressed like I just got off a ski slope. But it's freezing. It's freezing in the command center right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. We don't want to waste money on the heat. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things to talk about coming out of this. In terms of like the newcomers who debuted tonight and made an impression on you, did anybody really make an impression on you? Oh, there's another bit of controversy we could discuss that's kind of on the same page. Daniel Rubenstein,
Drake's cousin.
Yeah,
Drake's cousin.
Drake's Spike Carlisle. Spike Carlisle comes in there, gets a win, finishes Alan Cruz. And then, I mean, there was probably some shots to the back of the head there, but Daniel Rubenstein immediately went to Twitter and said on Monday, we're appealing this thing. We're going to get this overturned. And he is supremely confident this is going to get turned into a no contest and get overturned right away. So JHK, you're shaking your head already. I like the Rube. He's a great guy. He's a nice man, but I think he's a little crazy right now.
When was the last time they overturned anything?
Evan Kunitskaya,
even with people even with the people campaigning and fans crying out loud on the rooftops of Virginia, right? It's you could say that, and that's great because that's his fighter. He's the manager. Of course, you're gonna come out and appeal, and that's what you're supposed to do. But really, at the end of the day, nothing's gonna happen. Has anything happened in Texas?
Nothing yet. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but there hasn't. Like normally, we would know if something was going to happen or wasn't going to happen. We've heard absolutely nothing because there's 3 appeals that are in place. Andrew Lee's appealing, Martinez is appealing, and Krause has the best case of all. So if Krause's doesn't get overturned, then none will ever get. I mean, unless you're Tito Ortiz, nothing will ever get overturned. We had 2 overturns in 48 hours.
Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
Yeah, what do we do here?
I don't, and the fight, going back to the fight, yeah, there was some weird strikes. There were some weird strikes. There were some strikes to the back of the head. But it was a great performance by Carlisle, right? It was just, I think he was going in there as a major underdog against Alan Cruz, and because Cruz, he's coming off that war and that 3rd round finish where it was just incredible, and I think that's what anybody would remember. And Carlisle is the guy that he also has a pretty extensive highlight reel himself, but nobody really knows who he is. So he came in kind of quietly, snuck in the back door, and got this devastating win, and walked out. But and I don't think they're gonna overturn anything. But it's good to. But one bright side about appealing is I think managers should appeal more. They should keep appealing, and every commission should hear the appeals and continue appealing and appeal everything. Appeal like everything, like the guy's hair, appeal the guy's beard, appeal everything. Because why? If they keep hearing more appeals, they'll start to recognize, right? Like something we're doing wrong, or there might be some mistakes that we're making if there's so many appeals, right? If only one person's complaining, they could just slide it under the door or under the rug, or so to say. But if there's like 100, 200, 300, that's why people sign petitions, right? That's why you go around and have people sign petitions, because why? It gets the person that's in charge to put their eyes on something that's wrong, or something that's going wrong in the sport. So yeah, just keep doing it, but I don't see anything happening with that. But yeah, what did you see? Did you guys feel like the strikes were illegal? Like, was there a 12-6 there, or did he do the question mark? He started at 12 and he like rotated to the 9, and then he came back to the 3 and then went down to the 6. What do you guys think?
I mean, it made you question it. So I guess that's something. But we've seen worse in the sport. We've seen way worse. So I think the rule is. I think the rule, and I'm with Rogan. I don't agree with him too much these days, but the 12-6 elbow rule is dumb. Like it's a stupid rule. You should allow that to happen. I didn't see anything. I was just like, holy shit, we got to overturn this. Let me throw my hat across the room. But I understand why Rube's gonna appeal. I mean, why not? And I agree with you, JHK. Like, accountability is everything, especially in a sport as young as this one, and especially when these states and these commissions are not on the same page as everybody else. So how can we get there? Maybe just an endless amount of appeals will get everybody on the same page. Just stacks and stacks and stacks of appeals. Drake, what do you think? Should we just load up every file cabinet, every commission's file cabinet, all the commissioners just going through stacks and stacks and stacks of appeal? Just appeal everything. Every time you lose, no matter what happens, just appeal that shit.
Yeah, I love that idea. It'll be fun, to see just every single fight night. Everyone's like, all right, let's get the paperwork out. And then we'll end up getting things that are like, all right, you assholes, I'm going to overturn, John Jones's win over Anthony Smith. And we're like, wait, what? Why? It's like something totally random. Like, is that knee or just ridiculousness? But no, I think that's a good idea. Cause then they look at it more, because like, okay, why? If everyone's talking about something, the more noise that there is, the more that it'll get you to think about it. Cause whenever you get any sort of criticism, it sticks with you. As much as some people might want to say it doesn't, you think about it at least for that initial moment for a decent amount of time, As for this one, though, yeah, I think there were some back of the head shots for sure, but they weren't like intentional. I don't know what the rules say necessarily, but if you land a strike to the back of the head as like emotions happening, like where it's not intentional, the best example I can think of is I think it was Derek Brunson and Yoel Romero, where Yoel got head kicked, like right in the back of the head, but they were moving. Like, it was obvious he didn't mean to head kick him in the back of the head. That's not a foul, because it was just, as the action was happening. That's how I kind of felt about this one, where, he was falling and he wasn't aiming, targeting, the back of the head or anything. And then as for the elbow, I didn't think it was a 12-6 as it happened. And yeah, obviously a very stupid rule, but it is a rule, so you got to talk about it. I didn't think it was 12-6, very close, maybe an 11-5 or whatever. I didn't think that as it happened, but I heard them speculating on commentary. I'd have to look at it again, but I thought the finish was pretty clean and everything. Yeah, so I'm fine with it, but yeah, appeal it. Why not? Fuck it.
Stacks and stacks and stacks of appeals.
That's stacks.
I'm appealing tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna appeal I'm gonna appeal the Reebok deal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna appeal everything. Like, I'm gonna appeal the commission. Every commission for the next 10 years. Just appeal every fight.
Every single
every
fight.
judge. But the thing is, if people go scream on Twitter, do you think the commission's on Twitter, like scrolling down, listening to what everybody's writing? No, man, the commission don't. The commission is like 90-year-old like grandmothers and grandfathers sitting at a desk, right? So they're not going to be on Twitter listening to us. So yes, that's the only way you guys are going to get anything noticed is to appeal. And if fans can appeal, why not? go and appeal. Throw some paperwork out there. If you're a fan of a fighter and if you feel like the fighter has been screwed by the commission, write a letter. It's gonna help, right?
Write 5 letters. Tell your friends to write 5 letters. Stacks and stacks. That's what we want to see. That's what I want to see on Twitter. I want to see the commissioner take a picture of all the appeals.
Yeah, and just make fake names and appeal. Like fake accounts on Twitter. Just make them up and just send letters all day. If you're a real fan. If you're a real fan of the fighter, you need to do that. Come on.
I like it. Drake Riggs writes the first one. The next one is Rake Higgs, and we just keep switching the letters around in the name, and we'll just keep appealing that way until we switch them all around.
Murder mystery.
Yes. The gate was $402,958. 7,098 people took in that card. Fight of the night, no surprise. Silva versus Kyler. Performances of the night: Jordan Griffin, Megan Anderson.
What?
Yep.
They didn't give it to Figueiredo because the weight miss.
You can't give it to him because he can't take it anyways.
That was the most devastating.
Megan gets it over Felicia.
I don't know. If you're gonna give it to him, you might as well give it to both of them, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Spencer Donkey Kong the girl, man. Like, come on. That was the World Star Hip Hop knockout. Like it was like she was in the street and she's mounted her in front of 7-Eleven. Come on. I don't know. But Megan Anderson, I like, the knockout was great. It was kind of like a walk-off knockout or whatever. But I still thought it was premature. But anyways, good for her, man. She made some money. Who was the other one? Who was the other performance of the night?
Jordan Griffin. What a night for him.
Yeah. That was a crazy submission. We weren't talking about
TJ was winning on the feet. TJ was looking good.
Yeah, he was
looking
winning that.
really good, man. And did you read what he said? He said that he was just doing the escape like he was taught, and then he woke up. That's what he said on.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think it was on one of the other platforms. But he was like escaping like he's supposed to. Because think about it, he didn't have his legs wrapped around his body. It was kind of like in a side control. Like it was like a high elbow guillotine from like he was sitting in the side control. Like it was a weird submission, and he deserves that 50K. Because I've talked to Jordan Griffin before, man, and he's a guy that like works a regular job, trains. It's not like he's making a lot of money, so that 50K is gonna change a lot for him. And his job was on the line.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. TJ Brown's a good fighter. Guy's been waiting a long time for this, and he looked real sharp early on. And I think he just made a mistake. I think he should just kept it on the feed and cruised. But I think you just, sometimes you get in that moment, you're finally there after 9 years of waiting for that walkout, and there you go. You just get so excited and you just let it all go. And I think that's what happened here. He just got a little overzealous, but he'll learn from that. He's obviously surrounded by good people, guys like Bryce Mitchell, who just has been ascending and about to fight Charles Rosa. That's gonna be a hell of a fight at Oklahoma City. But pretty solid debut. It didn't turn out, but good for Jordan Griffin. Gets to stick around and live to fight another day. And he's got 50 G's to mess around with now. So Drake, any other performance stick out to you tonight? Anybody kind of flying under the radar that we should be talking about, that others should be talking about, that maybe we won't be talking about next week because of all the controversy and craziness?
Yeah, I think the obvious one was, Kyler Phillips looked really, really good. But the thing that kind of stuck out to me, just in putting things in perspective wise, was Brendan Allen and Tom Breeze. Just thinking back to like when Tom Breeze was, more active than he has been recently. Like this guy was one of the guys that we were all like, all right, he's gonna make waves. He's gonna be a solid top 15, top 10 guy one day. And then the injuries happened, and now it's looking like, I never expected to see him lose the way he lost tonight. Brendan Allen, that's not a knock on him, but it's just like how high we were on Tom Breeze when he was, coming up 4 years ago or whatever. It's been so long now, which is crazy. And so I feel like we're seeing a repeat of like a Brandon Thatch kind of thing. The guy looks like he's got all this potential, all this hypes on him, and then it just gone like that. So it's kind of, that was the thing for me. Brandon Allen, very, very good fighter in his own right. He's one to watch too, obviously, another good performance. But it was just more like the Tom Breeze thing, like, man, it's crazy how things just can turn so quickly in this sport over, it's just little things that happen, whether it's injuries or whatever. So I think that was probably one of the bigger things on the prelims for me from a perspective wise. So yeah, what did you think about that, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I tweeted out earlier today, like, what's your under the radar fighter storyline? And, you know, a lot of response with, is Tom Breeze going to be psychologically ready to just walk to the cage and fight? Like, it's crazy to even think about. And maybe it was super difficult for him to be like, all right, you know, like Bob Wiley and What About Bob, like baby steps out to the curtain, baby steps to the aisle, baby steps up the stairs. Like, and I have no idea what he's going through, but I think a lot of other people do. And it might have been really difficult for him to get out there and actually step in a cage and fight. So who knows what's going on in his mind right now, or what was going on in his mind all day long today, but he made it out there. And Brendan Allen, not taking anything away from him, he looks fantastic. And that's a guy that, and I know it's very cliche to say, but he literally gets better every time he fights. There's new chinks in his armor. He just looks great. Every time he fights, he gets better and better and better. He's got new tools and new things he works on. It's just, man, good performance from him. And Tom Breeze is going to be an interesting story looking forward. JHK, your thoughts on that? And who else may have stuck out to you that is kind of under the radar?
Brendan Allen, man. That's yeah, it just shows you that the Contender Series is legit. That's like a Griffin, Contender Series guy also, right? Even though there's Contender Series guys losing, but there's a lot of guys from that show that are coming up, and I'm just waiting for the first champion to be crowned from the Contender Series, you know, because we've had the Ultimate Fighter champions, right? Champions come from that show. I'm just waiting for who's gonna be the first one. Who do you think? I want to change it a little bit because I think we're done with Norfolk. Who do you think is going to be the Contender Series guy to become the first champion in the UFC?
Oof, that's a great question.
That is a good one.
Jeff,
you know what? I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play
Jeff
it safe
Neal?
just because of the promotional push he seems to get so often. Sean O'Malley. I think Sean O'Malley will have the first opportunity. I think he's going to have the first opportunity because I think if he wins a couple more, you know, he's going to get more and more competition.
Wait, Mike, this is bantamweight, dude.
I understand. Imagine if he if he wasn't dealing with the crap he's dealing with right now, like where would he be right now? You know what I mean? And bantamweight's crazy. I understand. But again, look at where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got two fighters in a matter of months who are going to fight for titles after losing back-to-back fights. None of that stuff matters. We're not in a meritocracy-based sport anymore, buddy.
No.
It's all out the window. It's all about who's popular. You know, who do people want to see? Where is this fight going to take place? You know, that's where we're at. I don't know. I mean, Miles Johns was up there for me. He was one of those guys. I think he could still get up there at some point, but again, another bantamweight. And I will say this, I can't reveal anything, but I'm here. I've heard a couple of the Contender Series fights that have been booked for the summer. Holy shit. That's all I can say.
Ooh.
JHK, what's yours, man?
Mine is Jeff Neal from the Contender Series.
That's a good.
Do you guys remember him? Yeah, I think he is, right? I feel like Jeff Neal is one of the front runners. Sean O'Malley definitely is probably one of the guys that eventually, like in like 5 years or so, he could probably get up there. You know, like, you know, I'm pretty sure like all this USADA stuff. I don't know, man. Who knows if he's gonna even fight in his next fight scheduled? If he does, maybe he gets caught again. Who knows what happens with that? But Chase Hooper is another guy that probably could, you know, eventually be a guy that fights for the title, you know, in a couple years. I don't know if it's gonna happen in the next year or so. A guy becoming a champion, but it's gonna happen eventually, right? And
Sure.
there's a lot of guys coming up. There's a lot of guys coming up right now. It seems like there's not many girls that fight, right, in the Contender Series. Not many female fights going on in the Contender Series. So I don't know about the female fighters, but yeah, Sean O'Malley's pretty good. Jeff Neal.
I mean, Macy Barber was on the Contender Series.
That's true, right? That's true. She could probably be up there too. I don't know.
Could be a heavyweight.
There's gonna be some crazy, like you said, the Contender Series this year coming up. There's gonna be a lot of fighters that come up in this series where most people might not know who they are, but if you've been watching like the regional scene, like a lot of the fighters I think come from the UFC Fight Pass promotions, and I think they're like dabbing in that a lot. So if they get a developmental deal, it doesn't hurt the UFC because why? they're gonna be fighting in the UFC Fight Pass anyways. It's kind of like what's his name?
William Knight.
Chase Hooper, right?
And William Knight.
Yeah, all of them. So, yeah, I like the Contender Series, and I like interviewing all the Contender Series guys.
Yes,
man. All of them. They're fun to talk
are.
to, and yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a little bit more worldwide in the next Contender Series. It's not gonna be like mostly the what is it, North American or Western Hemisphere. So hopefully, Contender Series Asia is postponed forever because of the stuff that's going on, but hopefully that gets situated and they could get that stuff kicking off. Maybe they might run concurrent with the Contender Series in Vegas. I don't know, or they might just do it in Vegas. They just call it Contender Series Asia and just do it in Vegas. Why not? You know what I mean? Why not? So yeah, that's gonna be exciting to watch.
I love the Contender Series.
Yeah,
I always look forward to it. I love it so much.
I hate the Ultimate Fighter. Like, I felt like that just got so old after like 5 seasons. After the Rampage, after the Rampage, I think Rampage versus Rashad Evans was like, that was the last season. I was like, oh, that was a good season because they had some moments in that season, right? But after that, it was just like, what else is there? What can really happen? It's just like it became reality TV, like like the reality TV that you watch right now, like The Bachelor or something. That's what it became later on, So yeah, Contender Series, I love that. Are they doing another show too? Another fight show?
Looking for a fight, kinda that one.
They just did, they just filmed one.
That's just like 3 old guys trying.
Yeah, that one doesn't really count, but if there's another,
I don't watch none of that, so that doesn't interest me at all. But yeah, Contender Series, of course. I don't know.
Very excited. Before we get to Drake's pick, Jesse Mathis, do you guys do this after every event? Full disclosure, we decided to do this like 10 minutes before we started. Honestly, I just JHK hit me up on Twitter and said, "Are you guys doing something after this?" I said, "I'm thinking about it." And then I hit Drake up. He said he was in, and here we are. So maybe not on pay-per-views, because we're not going to take that shine away from Mr. Lynch, because I know he'll probably be doing something on Saturday.
Because it finished so early, right? It also helps.
Yes, this is a good one.
Yeah, so it's we're like just a ragtag, right? Just come together whenever we can. That's it. And it's my first time on Mike's show. Like we've talked about it, but it's good to like actually come on and Mike and Drake, man, he's been like, we did. I was last night. That was kind of weird because last night I was watching MMA Today, like the old MMA Todays that we did
2 years ago. Yeah,
it was just like, man, I was just so shitty back then. But kind of shitty right now. But I'm just saying, what I mean? Like I was just looking at it. It was like me, Drake, Nolan King, and Max. And Kyle was on there too. It was just
Dude, John, that was actually the first podcast I was ever on. Was that episode that you invited me on, man?
Oh, really? I'll start somewhere, but and I like what you guys are doing too. You guys are doing like many different types of shows, and it's always good to get on with you guys. And
but now we got to get Drake. We got to get JHK on Between the Links.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm waiting for that. I already got
Monday. What are you doing Monday?
You want to do Monday? Yeah.
Want to do Monday?
Hey, I'm locked down for the next week because of the coronavirus. I don't even leave my house. Like I don't want to.
Definitely in.
So, yeah, I'm down. Right. I'm down for. I got a costume and everything. So
you're gonna win it.
We might have to go live. We might have to go live for this one. Yes. All right. So 9 Eastern on Monday, and we'll make it happen.
All right.
Nice. All right. So sweet. We booked Mondays Between the Links. Yeah. So I would recommend, if you're watching this right now, go to the Loudmouth MMA YouTube channel and subscribe to that, because JHK on there is going to be very exciting. You versus Keith. I am really looking forward to that.
Oh yes.
Well, first of all, I gotta go after John first,
so I could get the info. So I can have like points of attack. Is he a cop, right? He's a cop, right?
Yep.
Okay, there's something right there too. There's a lot right there. Just with that. But,
he's got a fight too. He's 1-0 as an MMA fighter.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it was like 22 years ago, but he did have a fight. Drake, I don't think we got your answer on who do you think will be the first Contender Series alum to become UFC world champion?
I am so disappointed in you guys for not mentioning the obvious answer. All right.
Yorgani Castro.
Greg Hardy, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
Greg
he's
How
not
dare
my
you.
actual answer. Not the reaction I expected.
Greg Hardy's right, man. Greg Hardy is one of the guys that's possible. But I heard he's gonna go back to the NFL.
No
This is an
way.
insider scoop right here.
Not a
Insider
chance.
breaking news. I've heard from birds, StreamYard birds, that
Wait, XFL or NFL, John?
NFL, Greg Hardy's gonna go play with the Cowboys. And the
Go
only
back.
only way this is gonna happen if Tom Brady gets
Oh my
traded,
God.
leaves the Patriots, and goes plays for the Cowboys. Greg Hardy is gonna come back to the NFL and play with the Cowboys and make another run for the Super Bowl ring.
Dude, if John's right here, this is gonna blow my mind, man.
I don't know what would be more disappointing, Tom Brady or Greg Hardy playing for the Cowboys. Because I hate the
Brady,
Cowboys. That would break my heart to see Tom Brady in a Cowboys uniform.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to think about that. I got the
Tony
heebie-jeebies.
Romo comes to my mind.
Yeah, Tony Romo's making $17 million a year to commentate. That's amazing. He's really good at it too. I'll give him that. He's gotten so much better over the years.
Just imagine Tony Romo commentating Tom Brady as the Cowboys quarterback. That's just gold right there.
Oh, I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach right now. I need to hear. I have to hear Drake's answer right now.
Okay,
I'm so ill, violently ill, thinking about Tom Brady in a Cowboys uniform.
Honestly, I don't know if I can say right now there's anybody that I could see could like win the title. You know, I think that most realistic would I would say is Jeff Neal, because I looked at he was on the contender series, so that's a great pick by John or to mention him. But you know, as who I think is most likely to fight for a title first, I still think it might be like Macy, just because flyweight, you know, I mean, obviously she's out for a while, but you know, we'll see what happens just with that division and how long Valentina's, you know, holding the belt down. But man, she could only be like 2 fights away from a title fight, even when she gets back. So I think that's probably still most realistic chance. And I mean, I don't know about Tracy Cortez getting it either, but you know, people around flyweight, I feel like most likely to get there. Winning it, I can't really see a realistic choice at the moment. I think Jeff Neal though would be a good one. Probably the most legit guy, maybe, unless I'm forgetting somebody. But yeah, those would be the names I would throw out there for that.
Antonina, but eventually,
well,
I mean, Valentina's gonna have to be like out of the division before that could happen. But I'm very intrigued by that fight. Antonina Shevchenko taking on Cynthia Calvillo. That's gonna be an interesting fight. Calvillo, I'm glad she's moving up to 25. It's a good move for her.
That is.
She doesn't have to cut all that weight anymore.
Oh, and Grasso going up to.
I got Cynthia winning that fight, man. I got Cynthia winning.
What's that?
I got Cynthia winning that fight.
Yeah.
You seen what Roxanne Modafferi did to Antonina on the ground, and I feel like Cynthia's ground game is pretty fucking legit. I think she could take her down. You know, even if it's not a regular wrestling takedown, they could get to the ground, and once it gets down there, Cynthia's just gonna take over and just it'll be like kind of like the Spencer fight tonight.
Yeah, she's a savage on the ground.
Yeah,
she is a beast. Ask Marina Rodriguez, especially in that third round in DC, what Cynthia Calvillo's like on the mat. That ain't pretty. She'll beat the shit out of you.
Like a dark horse in that flyweight division once she gets a couple fights in there, you know, and rises through the ranks. You never know. She could be fighting Shevchenko this time next year. Who knows what could happen with that? But yeah, Ruby, he's still waiting for his champion to come through, right? You got Peter Yan and you know Chiesa and
Jojo.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Wild, right? It's gonna be a wild ride, but yeah, man. Monday, hey, do you want to go off air and talk more in detail? Because I don't know about Monday. I might have some interviews lined up, so I don't know. I guess we'll just talk about it a little bit.
JHK, this is between the links, man. You know, sometimes you just got to call and be like, "Can we push it back an hour?" You know, this is my opportunity. Nah, we'll figure it out.
All right.
If it can't be this week, we'll get you on.
All right.
I think that's it. I mean, we've gone for an hour. It's flew by, gentlemen. I got to be honest with you. I thought it's only been like 25 minutes, but here we are approaching the 60-minute mark after a chaotic UFC Norfolk card. But it was so chaotic that we only gave it like 35 minutes, and then we went off on multiple tangents about Tom Brady and the Contender Series and all sorts of craziness. So there are some storylines, but again, it's UFC Norfolk on a random Saturday night before a huge pay-per-view. I'm very excited for UFC 248. Joanna versus Zhang Weili. I'm probably my most anticipated fight of the year so far. Can't wait for that one. JHK, I want your thoughts on that one because you may not be on Between the Links on Monday, but what are your thoughts on that fight? Who you got coming out of that? I don't know if you're a picks guy or not, but what are you looking forward to in terms of Joanna versus Zhang Weili? I'm very, 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 very fascinated with that fight.
The first thing is going to be like this flyweight fight that just happened. Is Joanna going to make weight? That's going to be a storyline coming in to this fight. Is she going to make weight, championship weight? And is that going to affect her in the fight? Because Zhang Weili, she's never had trouble making weight, and she goes full throttle for 25 minutes. I feel like she's just going to manhandle Joanna. Yeah, so I pick Weili to win that fight. I feel like she's going to surprise people. Just like she surprised people with the Andrade fight. I think it's going to happen the same way. But you never know. You know, the coronavirus and her flying to Thailand and flying to Dubai and then flying to Vegas and the stress levels of that and her having all this attention, right? Because you got to think, when she fought in China for the title, there was not much media except for Chinese media. Now she's in Vegas where it's like pressure. I think there's a lot of pressure where everybody's talking and you don't understand what the fuck people are saying to you, right? And that's kind of a weird environment to be around, right? And you never know how people react in that environment. And then when she steps into the cage, what kind of Weili we're gonna see. But I feel like she could handle it, and she's gonna perform and win that fight. What do you guys think?
Oof. I think I'm taking my hat off. I think we're I'm very surprised to see so many people picking Joanna right now. I've seen constant Joanna picks everywhere. I'm surprised to see that. I'm a firm believer in to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. Not like in terms of the judges' scorecards. It means like I'm always going to lean towards the champion in those kinds of situations, just because they are the champ and you got to beat them. And there's always an advantage there, in my opinion, just having that belt and carrying it around all week and, you know, showing your opponent that I got the belt and shoving it in your face. I know, like, once you walk to the octagon, like, no one's the champion. That's how it's sort of laid out there. But I love the fight. I'm not going to make a pick on it because I'm not a huge picker, but I love that fight. I am very surprised to see so many people picking Joanna, though. I will say that. Maybe it's because of all the, you know, the travel and going from place to place and country to country, and we weren't even sure if this fight was even going to happen. Maybe that's part of it, but Joanna seems very confident. I was with the media thing, John. I was surprised covering UFC Boston that Zhang Weili was one of the guest fighters. I was very surprised by that, seeing her come back and do a media scrum during that Boston card. And we found out that she came there, and the main reason she went there was to meet Tom Brady, which is amazing. And she was so fun, and she was so starstruck by the greatest quarterback of all time. Drake, what are your thoughts on that fight? What are you looking forward to? If you don't want to make a pick, you don't have to. We're not, you know, it's up to you.
Yeah, I love it, man. It is really a good matchup. I lean towards Weili in this one. I think it's just one of those things where, you know, she's just stronger in, you know, every area. I think, like physically, like she's just a strong individual, right? And the thing is, Joanna's never been, you know, a powerful puncher or anything, a powerful striker. She's more of a volume fighter. And I just think that when they strike and collide and, you know, they meet, Wiley's going to be the one that's going to, she makes you pay more with your punches, right? Where Joanna's the accumulative striker, damage you. She can go all day. They can both go all day. But it's like, she's not really that finisher that she was kind of made out to be when she first came on the scene, right? And became champion and all that. Because, you know, the fighters she was fighting, Carla Esparza and Jessica Penne, just to be brutally honest, you know, they were not the greatest of strikers. You know, with Weili, you're getting the full package here. She can do everything. And she does it very well. And she's just strong. She's fast. I mean, it's like, Joanna can obviously win this, but I just think that Wiley matches up well enough to, when they meet, essentially the counters and the shots that Wiley's going to land are going to be more effective, and she's got a better chance to put her away. Or even, if they get tied into grappling positions, she can, should be able to manage just fine. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's a good one. And, this is going to be Wiley's first fight in America where her head coach has actually made it to, the fight, because for the Taylor fight, and then it was Torres, right? Those were in America. He wasn't there for that. And she went to decisions. I mean, read into that what you will, but everything else has been finishes and all that. So I look forward to it. And the travel thing is obviously something to play into. She's said it's been no big deal in her interview with Brett Okamoto. Yeah, it's hard for me to go against her right now, man. People are still figuring out how good she really is. And this is kind of going to be, the last one was a coming out party, I think, but a bigger audience is going to be on this one, of course. So, but yeah, I'm going with the champ. I'm not going to make a specific when or like type of way it'll end, but yeah, I think she'll win it.
All right, last thing before we wrap up here. I'm a big proponent of grading cards once they've come to their conclusion. I know we're going to talk more about this on Off the Cuff, because I always like to hear how Kyle Steele wildly grades these cards from start to finish. But Drake, we'll start with you. Your overall grade for UFC Norfolk tonight.
Overall grade. I think it was I'll give it like a B-. I've enjoyed it pretty well, and then the chaos kind of brings it down a bit, and all the the random controversies and whatnot. But overall, I think we saw a lot of good performances from people that are getting their name out there still, and kind of breaking on to onto the cusp or whatever, as you want to say. Spike Carlisle was a big guy who I think he's caught everyone's eye from that performance, coming out and just kind of being a unique character. Yeah, Luis Pena back at it again, kind of a lackluster performance in his mind and all that, but dominated pretty convincingly. I will say this though, Steve Garcia, incredibly active from that position throughout the whole fight. Having Pena on his back.
Funny.
I was very impressed by that he could just be so wild. And then obviously the featherweights and the main event. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it for everything that it was. So B-. It's went over expectations, whether good or bad, like we said at the beginning.
All right, JHK. B- from Drake. What do you got?
A lot of shows, when they have fight nights, people don't expect much out of the fight nights, and I think a lot of people didn't expect much out of this. But this fight night came away with a lot of headlines, a lot of talking points, and good performances and controversy. With that being said, I think it gets a better grade than, let's say, like a UFC Uruguay. Like that happened, nobody talked about it. Like it happened, nobody even knew it happened. There was nothing that came out of it, right? There was a bunch of fighters that fought, and not really much, afterwards. This one, there's a lot to digest, and that's why I would give it a higher grade than normal. So I would give that a B.
A B from JHK.
Normally I would just give it a P.
A P?
For poor.
Those kindergarten grades right there. A P.
Yeah.
A P.
Yeah.
I think B- is a good score. I feel like I'm vindicated because I said all week that this card's going to surprise a lot of people, and it did. Some for the performances, some because of the controversy afterwards. But here we are. Benavidez missing weight, clearly something we didn't expect, and a whole bunch of other stuff that happened along the way as well. So I'll say, in terms of what the card looked like on paper to what we got, I think a B- is a pretty fair grade overall. But without the controversy, we may not even be here talking about it right now. If it's just the card that we sort of expected on paper, I'd probably be asleep right now watching Breaking Bad all over again. I can't believe I did that to myself. Now I'm not going to sleep for like 3 days going back and watching that show again. Show is so good. Well, I think that's it. Hour and 8 minutes. We'll say goodbye after a monumental return to the rolling hills and sprawling landscapes of Norfolk, Virginia. Drake, what do you got coming up this week? Anything you want to let the folks know about? I know you're not going to tell anybody about your interviews. You're not that kind of guy. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, very superstitious. I like to make sure that it all happens. I don't want to jinx anything. Yeah, I got but what I do have coming out will be I sat down with Lisa Versosa in her gym on Friday. She's got her big title fight coming up at Invicta Phoenix Series 3, fighting for the vacant bantamweight title on Friday. So I'm going to drop that with video article on Monday or Tuesday, beginning of the week. And then, still got that Random Marcos one coming out, and then my secret mystery one that has happened already, but I'm not telling you who it is because you'll never guess. And then, just other interviews lined up, and I think I'm gonna take a break from lining up some more interviews, do some more investigative stuff. I have some ideas that I think I want to look into more. So look forward to those on all the sites that I write for, and you can follow me on my Twitter in the little thing right there, as you can see.
Speaking of all the sites that one works for, JHK, what do you got coming up this week? You're a man on a mission all the time, just constantly pumping out content. Where can we find all of this lovely content of yours?
Just go to YouTube and type in Kumite TV, and it's there, man. That's all it is. I've kind of like stopped working with sites, to be honest with you, and just focused on my show and just kind of growing the show. And if a good offer comes, I might go with it, but I'm just waiting for that opportunity. But I do write some stuff. I do write some articles for like Asian websites and stuff like that, but nothing like special like Drake does, right? So I don't want to promote it. And but I want to promote my show. I got a bunch of interviews for next week. I think next week is UFC 248, right? So I got a bunch. Like I got a Max Griffin, Emily Whitmire. She's coming back from a long layoff. Who else do I have? Let me scroll down to see. I don't know. Just Benil Dariush, Jamal Amers, and a bunch more. And then I got a bunch of like Bellator 241 interviews up there. It's coming up soon, and just a bunch, man. Just go there and scroll down, and if you like something, just click on it and watch it and write terrible comments. That's what I want you to do.
JHK's got it all. He's got it all from UFC pay-per-view, main carders to the up-and-coming prospects in the area. I think it's very important to learn about the next generation of fighter, because things are going to get real interesting once some of those cats get up to the big show. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I did a lot of prospect interviews last week in terms of UFC 248. I had a great talk with Gerald Mearshart. Really enjoyed that one. So definitely check that one out. He really wants to beat Deron Wynn's ass. Like I've heard Gerald Mearshart interviews before. He's kind of a wacky guy, but he is as fired up as possible for this one. So definitely check that one out. And I think I want to say that I had the very last interview with Sean O'Malley, because I was told that he was shutting down interviews shortly thereafter that. I don't think it had anything to do with my interview, but I don't think he wanted to do many more interviews because he didn't want to jinx anything. Got a feel for that guy. Every time his phone rings, it could be the UFC saying, sorry, dude, you're off the card. So those are on there as well. I don't know. Just follow me on Twitter. You'll find all the links. You're already watching the freaking page right now, so just subscribe and we'll go from there. For Drake, for JH, JHK, stick around. Drake, you could stick around too if you want. Okay, and we'll figure out between the links on Monday. That's it. I got nothing more to say. Just follow all of us on Twitter, subscribe to all the YouTube channels, and we'll see you. Hope you guys enjoyed UFC Norfolk, and get ready for UFC 248. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.